Welcome to the AI for Career Success video overview by Curt Robbins. We're experts at AI coaching and helping professionals like you and your employees upskill in AI. This analysis is based on the article Why AI Won't Replace Tech Writers But Will Reshape Their Work by Guiseppe Getto, published in tcworld magazine.
You know, when it comes to AI in technical fields, the conversation often gets polarized. It seems to swing between two extremes. Either complete automation is on the horizon, or we should just avoid the technology altogether. But as the article argues, both of these perspectives are fundamentally flawed. The real challenge isn't if we should use AI, but rather how we can integrate it responsibly to support and enhance human expertise, not undermine it.
So, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll address that central conflict. Is AI a threat or a tool? Then, we'll get practical and look at 3 specific workflows where AI can be a valuable assistant. And finally, we'll outline some core principles for responsible implementation. So let's dive right into that core issue. Is AI a threat that's going to replace technical writers, or is it simply another tool? The source makes a very strong argument that this is a false choice. AI is already integrated into so many of the tools we use daily, so complete avoidance isn't really a viable strategy. The focus has to shift from a debate about replacement to a discussion about how we can leverage these tools to strengthen our work. All right, let's get into our first practical application, which is drafting. For many of us, that blank page can be pretty intimidating, and it's often a major bottleneck. This is actually a great place for AI to step in, not as an author, but as a collaborator. Now, the key concept here is not full automation. The author calls it scaffold drafting, and it's a useful analogy. The writer provides the blueprint, things like templates or outlines, and the AI generates a foundational structure. This saves a lot of time on routine formatting and predictable phrasing. And this really highlights the 2 ways this can go. On one side, you have the risk of letting speed replace sense. Just pushing a button and accepting whatever vague or generic text comes out is a fast track to eroding your credibility. The responsible method, on the other hand, treats the AI as a true collaborator. Every single sentence it generates must pass through human review for accuracy, for consistency, and for the right tone. The writer, not the model, always has the final say. Okay, let's move on to the revision process. This is another area where AI can be a really effective assistant, almost like a second set of eyes to help improve the readability and consistency of a document. In this workflow, AI's real strength is its ability to recognize patterns. After you've been staring at a document for hours, it's easy to miss things. AI can flag potential weaknesses, like unclear phrasing, repetitive words, or deviations from a style guide, for the writer to then evaluate. However, there is a significant risk here. You can't just blindly accept automated improvements. An AI might suggest a simpler phrase that smooths out the prose, but inadvertently removes a critical technical term or even changes the meaning of a step in a process. So, the critical point is to maintain control. The responsible method is a 2-step process. The AI suggests changes, and then a human manually reviews every single one before accepting it. These are suggestions, not mandates. So our third workflow is quality assurance. QA often involves a lot of repetitive, rule-based tasks, which is an area where AI can offer a great deal of speed and reliability, acting as a sort of early warning system. You can think of AI here as a tireless proofreader. It can automate the scanning of huge document sets to find things that are incredibly time-consuming for humans, like inconsistent product names, broken links, or missing alt text for accessibility. It identifies these potential issues early on. But the danger lies in assuming that automation is the same as accuracy. AI is great at finding obvious, rule-based problems, but it often misses subtle, contextual errors because it lacks true understanding. It can also generate false positives. So the pragmatic approach is a human-led process. The AI performs the first pass and generates a report, but it's always a writer or an editor who reviews that report, validates the findings, and decides what corrections to apply. Human judgment remains the final authority. These 3 workflows can be incredibly effective, but only when they're guided by a set of core principles that ensure both quality and accountability. These 4 principles really are the essential guardrails. First, clarity. AI's output can't make things more confusing. Second, accuracy. All AI-generated information has to be fact-checked by an expert. Third, accountability. A human always remains fully responsible for the final content. And fourth, transparency. Teams should be open about how they're using AI. These principles separate responsible innovation from recklessness.
So ultimately, the conclusion here is that AI is not an existential threat, but it is a transformational tool. When it's used wisely, it allows professionals to spend less time on mechanical, repetitive tasks and more time on high-value work. Things like solving complex user problems and designing better information architectures. It's about reshaping the work, not replacing the worker.
Thank you for watching. This is where we teach you AI and help you get smarter than your competition. If you like these videos, use the QR code at the beginning of this video to buy us a coffee or hire us to coach you or your employees in AI. Please subscribe to the AI for Career Success YouTube channel and like, comment, and share to help us reach a wider audience.